Howdy folks. So in a previous video I was talking about modifying the Letshuoer D13 13mm dynamic driver. Plug the back vent, plug the front vent with some tape, and put something in the bore to flatten the tuning, and you end up with this. That's my measurement. There's no smoothing. Here, I'll click that, see no smoothing. All right, so here's our baseline. I got to thinking to myself, all right, we got kind of a blank slate, right? Tabula rasa here to do things with. We got a little bit of stuff to do over here, but overall we could do something with this. So I went ahead and went into Room EQ Wizard's EQ function. That's this. And here, I'll go ahead and maximize that. All right, so basically what I did was, here's our target. So I took the original graph, which you don't have to do a lot to get a flat graph. But on the upper end here past 10,000 hertz, you don't want that flat. Human ears don't work flat there. There should be some type of roll off. The green graph is actually the graph that so to speak that I drew, or I don't know if I drew it. I created it with parametric EQs, but hopefully that should show you. So if our mid range is right here-ish, then sort of our treble, high treble is going to be about, let's see, what are we at? 96 down to 90. So maybe like 6 to, something. Steady slope down into the 20,000 hertz range. And I did a little bit of testing with that, and honestly, I did try the flat, and flat sounds like shit. It's way, way, way too high bias that your ears don't work like that, even though it seems like it would be good, it's not. So I went ahead and did a little bit of a roll off there, but here's what I did. So so again, we're starting with the just the flat graph here, the green graph, and then our target is going to be basically a flat line, but with the stuff over the 8K notch. It should be like a downslope, a slow downslope to 20,000 hertz. It's hard to say exactly what that should be. I kind of just did it by ear. But then I went ahead and I tossed in some pinna gains. So we're at, let's see, if 1,000 hertz is at 98, then we're at 104. So, probably 6 decibels-ish of pinna. And then I wanted a nice, I don't know if you want to call it clinical, but clean mid shelf. So I went ahead and did the, I don't know if Harman, I guess we could call it. But then I stopped the Harman at about, I don't know, I was trying to about 250 hertz. And from 250, then I just went ahead and boosted linearly all the way up 10 decibels. So, or I did it, geez, it might be a little more, 797 to... Yeah, so maybe like a little more than 10, 10 plus, 10, 13, 12, 12-ish. So then that's basically what I did with that. Here's our EQ filters. So the first set of filters goes to 10,000 hertz. So that just does, it basically, the first set, the first 6 of those, just tiny little things that flatten the line, basically just to a perfect flat line all the way to about like the 8K peak. Then 10,000, I went ahead and did a little bit of a shelf. It caused a little bit of an upslope rather than, it was a little bit too dark, so I just pumped a little bit of energy, but still the downward slope to 20,000 hertz. And then after that, I did the actual tuning with the rest of this stuff. So we got the 14 hertz, that's basically the bass shelf at 0.2 Q, and so on and so forth. And then I created this entire graph and measured it, and there we go. So I was just like, well, kind of trying to, the back of my mind, trying to think of like what would be, a really nice graph to try, like theoretically, maybe like a target graph or something. Came up with that, and indeed did all that. So here's what I did after that, by the way. We go ahead and we go to Room EQ Wizard, and we go to export, and we export impulse export filters, impulse responses as waves, filters. And I do 2 monos at 48 kilohertz. Then what I actually do is I go ahead and I get into foobar, and I get to the DSP, and we add the stereo convolver. And the stereo convolver, I just stick in a mono. Of course, you could do stereo, but I'm just making this simple one myself. So basically, just two of the same measurements, so to speak, but applied to the left and the right. These are convolved. So all these PEQs are like boiled down into these wave files that you load into these the convolver settings. And up here it says the headroom required is 1.7 decibels. So I went ahead and dropped our preamp down to just a little bit below that, just to make sure we have a little headroom, no clipping, stuff like that. Hit OK, and off to the races and start to listen to that. And what I've achieved here, I honestly am blown away by how good this sounds. I know I say that all the time, but because I do this stuff for myself, but it's actually pretty goddamn good. Starting with a flat graph, and then you can go ahead and sort of build your own EQ on top of that. So, there's some other stuff I want to try, but that was sort of like a Harmonish, not quite, with my own little flares of tuning things that I've learned over to the last few years. And came out super fucking good, honestly. So this, as I listen to it, get this out of the way, that's a good graph. That could easily be a target, in my opinion. Very, very nice. There's a good amount of sub bass, a tremendous amount. It's it only starts really at the bottom of the mid-range, and I did put a little bit more than maybe some folks might start it at 200, so I did like the 250, just like, I don't know, 250 to 280. That's our starting, mid-slope there. We got the low pinna gain army going on there, right? So 98 to, 103, 104, 98, 104. Yeah, 6 decibels right on the money. I don't really like to slope too fast down after the pinna gain because I just like a little bit of extras in the upper mids here. Sorry. And I might actually eventually just go ahead and add a little bit extra up here and then keep it sloped, or like as it crosses the 10,000 hertz, leave the rest of this air factor the same, but maybe pump in a little bit more here. But right now, this is cool. Hey, I could try anything I want now. I just think about it and do it. So, I just wanted to bring this up. It's a really, really cool idea with an actual headphone, and it works out in real life. Amazing. Right on, and I'll duck down the next one.